Now we have a talk by Dr. R.H. Jani on the pivotal trial.
Good morning. What I will do that I will go through the one example of pivotal study which has used also adaptive trial design during the drug development. Lipaglyn, which is having a INN name or generic name saroglitazar, is entirely developed with Indian expertise and is probably the first drug to get approval in this segment, first in class, first time in world. This is the chemical structure which is very different from all other PPR alpha gamma at present available in market, and it is a dimer connected by magnesium. If you see the various structures and compare this with saroglitazar is very different from rest of the molecules so far we have experienced in the clinic. And that's probably giving us a confidence that it could have a better profile than whatever so far we have experienced with PPR alpha and gamma. It is very much PPR alpha dominant and is more potent than PPR alpha phenofibrate. When we see the structure of PPR, you can see that in this PPR phenofibrate and lipaglyn both have different way of binding to the to the PPR receptors, and that gives us a very strong binding with PPR alpha. Similar is the case with gamma. What we wanted is we never wanted a very powerful or potent PPR gamma, and it was a moderate activity which is actually giving us a anti-glycemic effect but lesser possibility of cardiovascular events, and that's why we designed this molecule in that fashion. If we look to the trials which is actually building, and based on that we at the end of the day completed 2 pivotal study. In first in man trial, which was for regulatory purpose, and that's why we call it pivotal study. It is used for registration purpose. And if we see phase 1 to phase 3, we have completed the studies in 70 centers all over India. We are taking a lot of pride that Indian doctors, Indian investigators, Indian regulatory and Indian scientists could achieve a first-in-class molecule from this country which will be traveling from east to west, and that is a most important moment for all of us. If we look to the phase 1 trial, we have gone through the classical adaptive trial design, seamless trial, move from single dose to multiple dose, gender effect and food effect, and we found that there was no adverse event, serious adverse event up to 128 milligram of a single dose, which is 32 times higher than the recommended 4 milligram dose of lipaglyn, which is at present recommended by regulatory agencies. The pharmacokinetic is quite favorable, and it also shows that there is no drug accumulation in the body. When we have seen this positive result with phase 1 trial, we decided to go for proof of concept study in India only, and we have decided to go with about 120 subjects in diabetic and non-diabetic group. These are the 4 trials, and in these 4 trials we have total 221 patients participated, and in this study we have compared the drug in non-diabetic group with phenofibrate, in case of diabetic with rosiglitazone because that was available at that time, pioglitazone, and also in IGT population we studied the drug for its anti-triglyceride and anti-lipid and anti-glycemic effects. It was 12-week program, randomized, double-blind, multicentric study. The study showed us that the drug was effectively reducing the triglyceride, probably much better than the phenofibrate group. The reason is that phenofibrate, when we look into 200 to 400 or 500 milligram percent of triglyceride level, it shows only 27% decrease in the triglyceride. So this seems to be a better result, which has given us confidence to go further. We also have studied it against rosiglitazone and pioglitazone, and that also we have seen in diabetic dyslipidemia decrease in triglyceride in an expected way. Of course, the sample size at this juncture was not known to us, so it was considered pilot study. And it has built our next pivotal study. Most important thing, among these 221 patients and plus 144 patients earlier, none of them have shown any DILI or drug-induced liver toxicity, renal toxicity, musculoskeletal effect, or ECG abnormality. So with this background, we have decided to go in pivotal studies. There are two studies. Number one study is comparing the lipaglyn with pioglitazone in diabetic dyslipidemia for type 2 diabetes. The study was a multicentric study, randomized double-blind pioglitazone control study, where we have taken pioglitazone 45 milligram. And some may ask that why 45 milligram, but we thought that internationally or globally the highest dose available at that time was 45 milligram, and one should not be having a doubt that our drug is showing better efficacy because of the lower dose of pioglitazone. And that's how we selected this. It was 26-week trial program, followed by that 24-week follow-up for cardiovascular event and cardiac abnormality by ECG and 2D echo. The trial design is something like this. Patients have undergone the screening test, lifestyle modification, and they were given saroglitazar or pioglitazone up to 24 weeks, following which another 24 weeks we have observed them for cardiovascular events, 2D echo abnormality and other abnormality, to find out whether any residual effect is there or whether any damage has taken place anywhere, so that we can see and we can decide on development of drug further. You can see here the triglyceride reduction was more than 45% as compared to pioglitazone. It was significant. Compared to baseline, it was significant. When we look to the other lipid parameter like LDL, VLDL, total cholesterol, ApoB, and HDL, all was showing a favorable lipid control. Apart from that, what we have observed is as compared to pioglitazone, in case of lipaglyn, we have minus 22% decrease in fasting plasma glucose, and it was comparable as far as A1C levels are concerned after 24 weeks. So there was effectiveness in that, and then followed by that we had also seen various laboratory parameters. It was found to be not having any toxicity, renal toxicity was absent. There was no weight gain. And apart from that, when we see ATP criteria, in ATP criteria, more number of the subjects have achieved the controls or 3 parameter achieved with saroglitazar than pioglitazone. And this shows the positive profile. It seems to be safe for heart, safe for liver, safe for kidney, and safe for muscle. With this background, we also conducted second largest study with 300 patients. Again, 12-week program, followed by another 24-week for cardiac abnormality. And what we have seen is there is a reduction up to 51%. All glycemic parameters and lipid parameters are favorable. And what we have seen further is that there is no issue related with renal toxicity. Creatine values are not going above the normal limits. The liver function is remaining normal. In fact, there is a decrease in liver parameter, and that has actually led us to start another trial which is underway with NASH. So, going further, again, we do not have any incidence of weight gain, edema with this product. And here again you can see that as compared to atorvastatin plus placebo versus lipaglyn plus atorvastatin, more number of subjects are achieving the ATP goals. So with this we can tell that lipaglyn is probably the best available option with the limited data whatever we have, and has better cardiac safety, better liver safety, better renal toxicity, renal kidney safety, and muscle safety. With this, the saroglitazar becomes the first in-class drug available from India and now traveling from India to a Western country. It's first in class in terms of dual PPR mechanism. And that's why it's one of the novel mechanism as a non-renal route of administration, which gives us further advantage, and has no CV event in 864 subjects so far followed up. There is no weight gain, no potential for edema. This makes saroglitazar an approved drug in India and is now in process of development and approval in various Western countries. Saroglitazar is recommended at 4 milligram per day, and this is the unit from where this particular molecule is born, known as Zydus Research Center. So this is about the new molecule which has come up from India. First time this country is developing a molecule and taking it to global level. Thank you for patient hearing.
I mean, it's an excellent study. Dr. Jani, can I ask you one question which is out of this? That is, what are your comments on the pioglitazone molecule which has recently come under scrutiny because of some malignancy?
Many of these PPRs are showing some kind of the abnormality in rodent particularly. This rodent specific effect is probably related with molecules and may not be necessarily clinically relevant. But if we talk about particularly pioglitazone, we also have taken study and we are following up. We have not come across any such case in this study also. Going to the, again, PPR alpha gamma, probably we are not believing that PPR alpha gamma is directly related with the this kind of oncological problem. Probably among the 30 proteins which are involved in PPR alpha gamma, one of them is negatively affected. That could be the reason. So I believe that at present we should not be worrying much about this particular effect.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.